6 days in Washington, D.C., and we saved something incredible for last. On our final afternoon, we got inside a castle that's barely ever open to the public, walked across the garden that's secretly sitting on top of 2 entire hidden museums, and then spent over 2 hours getting completely lost in one of the most visited museums in the country. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what's worth your time in this part of D.C., whether you're planning your own trip or just want to see it from your couch. If you appreciate this type of content, gently tap that like button. Let's get into it. All right, first up, the Smithsonian Castle. This is the original Smithsonian Institution building, and it's been closed for a major renovation for the last few years. But for the nation's 250th birthday, it's temporarily reopening for a short window this summer, with a special exhibit set up for just the occasion. A couple items that stood out to me, not that they all weren't fabulous, but the fragment from the Star-Spangled Banner was breathtaking. You can see the real thing in the National Museum of American History. Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that Star-Spangled Banner yet wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave. These are the lyrics to the Star-Spangled Banner by Francis Scott Key. He wrote those in 1814. Another item was the actual copy of the I Have a Dream speech delivered by Martin Luther King Jr. on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. When King departed, he left the copy of his speech on the podium, where it was rescued by an intern named George Raveling, who preserved the document until he shared it with Villanova University, and through them, the Smithsonian. When you walk the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, don't miss the marker where Dr. King stood that day. One other item I want to mention is the lamp by which President George Washington wrote his farewell address, and a George Washington inaugural button. I will stop on this one. Thomas Edison's incandescent light bulb. Edison is an intriguing figure in American history. The National Park Unit in West Orange, New Jersey is a fabulous place. We've also been to his birthplace, home in Milan, Ohio. But here's one of his incandescent light bulbs. If a visit to the castle is on your radar at all, this is a genuinely rare chance to get inside a building most visitors only see from the outside, so it's worth checking the current schedule before you plan around it. Next, right behind the castle is the Enid Haupt Garden. It's one of the most peaceful spots on the entire National Mall, with red brick paths and manicured flower beds. But here's what almost nobody realizes while they're standing in it. The garden is basically a roof. Underneath it is a 3-story underground complex built back in the 1980s, and it houses 2 full museums. The National Museum of African Art and the National Museum of Asian Art, along with an education center. The whole thing was built underground on purpose so it wouldn't disturb the historic buildings surrounding it. So next time you're strolling through what looks like a quiet garden, remember you're actually standing on the roof of a hidden museum complex. Quick break. Check the description and the pinned comment below for helpful resources on planning your own DC trip. Okay, back to it. From the garden, we walked over to the National Museum of American History, and this is where we spent over 2 hours and honestly only scratched the surface. This museum is enormous, and we focused on 3 sections: music, the presidency, and war and conflict. In the music section, you'll find Prince's Yellow Cloud guitar, along with the actual clock from the set of 60 Minutes. Just a few steps away are Dorothy's ruby red shoes from The Wizard of Oz. In the presidential section, there are military items connected to both George Washington and Ulysses S. Grant. And in the war and conflict wing, you'll walk right up to a Vietnam-era Huey helicopter, an actual piece of the Berlin Wall, and objects tied to the Watergate scandal. This museum holds the Star-Spangled Banner, the real flag that inspired the national anthem. But that one is so closely guarded and no photos are allowed anywhere near it. And honestly, that's just a handful of what's inside. This museum alone could fill a day or more, and we're already planning to go back. That wraps up all 6 days of our Washington, D.C. trip. If you want to see everything we did before this on day 5, from the National Zoo and the National Postal Museum to getting inside 2 congressional office buildings and touring the Capitol on the morning of day 6, I made videos on all of that. And you can check out the full playlist by clicking right here. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next trip. Flip-flops and ugly shoes on the ground. And classic road trip.